We are live.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the Green Zone, powered by the Sauce Network. Sean Redden, joined as always with the Prop Beaver, AJ, producing. So always thankful for him being here with me, and of course sharing his thoughts and insights when he feels necessary for the games this week. We're gonna start off this week with the people in the NFL who are fucking crumbs. Again, not many teams this week. We had another great week in the NFL. I went 11-5 against the spread last week. But there are a few teams that stand out and meet the list. Starting off with the Los Angeles Rams. You were beating the Falcons 28-3. You let them almost pull a reverse Falcons and come back from 28-3. Blew the lead, didn't cover the 10 and didn't blow the lead, but blew the cover 10.5. Stafford throws multiple interceptions again. So Sean McVay, Rams defense, Matthew Stafford, you're all fucking crumbs. Now, moving on to the second team on the list, the Cincinnati Bengals. You went against Walmart Andy Dalton in Cooper Rush last week and couldn't cover a touchdown spread. You decided to not start playing football until the second half, and it was too late for Joe Burrow, and now he has to quit social media because of it, because the Bengals couldn't cover the spread. Why am I blanking on their coaches? And Zach Taylor, the head coach of the Bengals, Joe Burrow, that entire offensive line, you were all fucking crumbs. And then lastly, and most importantly, the Denver Broncos. You fumble 2 balls into the end zone week 1. You lose outright to the Seattle Seahawks. You follow that up by barely beating the Houston Texans. Disgraceful. Terrible performance. Russ, everybody says let Russ cook. I think Russ is just cooked. Sorry, Nathaniel Hackett, as an NFL coach, you may not be able to hack it. You're a fucking crumb. But as always, nobody told me to bet on the Rams. Nobody told me to bet on the Bengals. And sure as hell, nobody told me to bet on the Broncos. So the biggest crumb in the NFL is me, Sean Redden.
Nathaniel Hackett's the biggest crumb of all time. I've never seen a sorrier head coach in the history of football, and I hope that Denver can recover from what they've just done financially. So good luck to them.
Yeah, it's not a good start. I think Hackett's just lucky that the Broncos didn't trade for Aaron Rodgers.
It's yeah. Well, I don't even have a comment to say. I am so disgusted with that team.
I remember when Beaver didn't know who Tommy Edman was.
Yeah, the guy's a clown. He didn't even know who Adley Rushman was. I don't even want to hear from him.
But yeah, moving on. We're moving on to week 3. Gonna try to follow up with another good week, and I am actually really loving the board this week. Starting off Thursday night, tomorrow night, the Browns are hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers, with the Browns as a 4.5-point favorite with the over-under at 38.5. I'm probably betting the Steelers here. I haven't got to that point yet, but it's just hard for me to trust this Browns team and Jacoby Brissett. I think the Steelers defense, even without TJ Watt, is going to be really frustrating for this Cleveland offense. But on the flip side, I mean, Mitch Trubisky has been abysmal so far to start this year. Obviously nobody thinks he's the best quarterback in the league, but he's been honestly worse than he's even looked with the Bears in the past. But this is a Thursday night division game, low total. I almost always want to take the points with the dog in an instance where the points total is this low. But I think I'm probably betting the Steelers, but I think the under 38.5 is also a really good look. In the last 3 seasons, when a total is 38.5 or lower, it is 7-0 to the under.
That's good to know.
I'm definitely leaning the under here and the Steelers as well. Next game up is the Bengals at the New York Jets, my favorite team, who I just talked about. I am on the Bengals here. I already bet them at 4.5. I don't know if it went back to 5. That's what the graphic is, but I would still bet it at 5. I would bet it at 5.5. Anything under a touchdown, I would bet the Bengals here. Obviously, they have not looked good this year, but I expected them to not look that good this year. I've only been the guy for the past few months saying they're not making the playoffs. Everybody needs to pump the brakes. They went 10-7 last year. They're an average team that caught lightning at the most important time and made a run to the Super Bowl. They played above their heads. I was expecting some regression. That being said, I love them in this spot. The Jets D-line is not the Cowboys D-line. The Jets D-line is not the Steelers D-line. I'm laying the points here. The point differential between these teams is definitely more than 5, and it's definitely more than 5.5. It's one of my favorite bets this week. I'm all over the Bengals. And I know you're a Jets fan, AJ. But do you share my sentiments?
Dude, well, I will be in attendance at the game, so I'll be rooting for none other than the elite Joe Flacco. But I don't know, man. This is actually a really tough one. I think it's gonna be a battle between how bad the Jets pass rush is and how bad the Cincinnati O-line is, and honestly, I really don't know who's gonna win. Like the Bengals have definitely faced some tough competition. I will definitely say that, but I mean, they held the Browns pass rush relatively in check all game. Joe Flacco wasn't really pressured, and he was dicing them up. So I don't know. It's a really interesting game. Personally, I'm actually leaning with the Jets and the 5 at home, but I'm a nutcase. I'm biased, so yeah. Alrighty. Premium matchup here.
Yeah, next game, Patriots, Ravens. Ravens are a 3-point favorite on the road with the over-under at 43.5. It's Ravens -3 for me. If you follow Kyle on Twitter, at Kyle Kerms, he actually shared a tweet earlier from a beat writer who said Lamar was wearing a sleeve on his arm and did not throw to any receivers at practice this week. So I have not gone ahead and fired this bet in yet, but if Lamar plays, it's Ravens -3 for me without a doubt here. This Patriots offense is terrible, and I actually like Mac Jones. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. But last week was a great spot for this New England team. You got the Steelers, quick turnaround against a team missing their best all-pro defensive end, and you only put up 17 points. I mean, this wide receiver core is god-awful with Devontae Parker, Nelson Aguilar, and I'm totally blanking on the guy that they brought back from last year.
Kendrick Bourne?
Yeah, I'm going to move on because I can't remember his fucking name. But regardless to say, he's not very good. If he was any good, I would have remembered his name. So I don't think the weak part of this Ravens defense, which is their secondary that has been kind of banged up, I don't think the Patriots are going to be able to exploit it. And I upgraded this Ravens defense, offense, even though they lost last week. The offense was really good last week versus the Dolphins. They were actually throwing a lot of concepts at him that Lamar had struggled with in the past, and he just had an answer for every single one of them. That the loss last week is not on the offense, it's on the defense, but this Patriots offense isn't going to be able to take advantage of that mismatch, in my opinion. And as long as the Ravens get Lamar Jackson and he's under center, I'm laying it here with Baltimore.
Yeah, tons of money on the Ravens, but I couldn't agree more. I just think they're the right side.
Chiefs at the Colts. The Chiefs are a 6-point favorite with the over-under at 50.5. I really wanted this to be a buy low spot on the Indianapolis Colts. They were playing against two pretty significant historical trends to start the year. They don't ever win season openers, and then they don't ever beat the Jaguars. So I feel like a lot of people are downgrading them off of that fact. Like, I don't think they're as bad as they've shown the past few weeks. But that being said, this is not the spot for me to buy low on the Colts. I understand the Chiefs historically are terrible against the spread, but I think this line is actually correct. If the Colts get Alec Pierce back and Michael Pittman and Shaq Leonard and get a healthier injury report, I think we're actually going to get a better number on the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think that necessarily makes the Colts valuable in that instance. I just think it becomes the Chiefs more valuable. But if they're absolutely not valuable, the Colts are, if they're missing those guys. So I would personally lay the 6 with the Chiefs, but I'm holding out, hoping they get a better injury report, and I'm hoping to get a better number as we get closer to the weekend here with Kansas City. Gus Bradley, the defensive coordinator for the Colts, runs a lot of the same concepts and strategies as Vance Joseph, the D coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals. And we saw what Mahomes did to that defense week 1. This Colts defense, in my opinion, while is better than the Cardinals, in my opinion, but if Gus Bradley tries to do the same things that he likes to do historically, Mahomes is going to shred them apart. I'm laying the 6 here with the Chiefs. Lions at the Vikings. The over-under is 52.5. I really like the Vikings in this spot. Don't love the number at 6. Look, maybe, I will admit, maybe I'm undervaluing the Lions here. Maybe there is no Hard Knocks hangover or anything like that. Maybe they're legitly an okay football team. That being said, I think the Vikings are significantly better. I think the Vikings are the best team in the NFC North. At home, coming off a tough loss in Philly, and 1 o'clock Kirk is not the same as 8 o'clock Kirk. What happened on Monday night is exactly what I expected to happen, because it's exactly what happens every time Kirk Cousins plays in primetime. He loves 1 p.m. I'm not worried about Kirk Cousins. I think he's going to get back to being the pretty standard Kyle's cracking me up with the comments, but I think he's going to get back to being the consistent, like, top 12 quarterback that we expect him to be. And this Lions secondary is not going to have the answers for Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen like the Eagles had. There's no Darius Slay on the Lions. Justin Jefferson is going to eat. I'm expecting a big game out of him, and I think this Vikings defense is going to be up to snuff versus the Lions offense as well. I'm definitely laying the 6 here. It's actually a 5.5 at a couple books now, so I would jump on that to get it under the 6. But yeah, 6 or under, I'm definitely laying it with the Vikings.
I mean, the public loves the Lions. All the money's on the Lions money line, all of it. And then, I mean, 60% of it's on the spread. But, dude, it's the perfect buy low spot for a Vikings team that we've said coming into this year is going to be very good. Too good to pass up. And like Monday does not change my opinion on the Vikings. Like, everything that happened is what I expected to happen. As soon as the schedule was released and I saw the Eagles were playing the Vikings on Monday Night Football, I had already bet the Eagles. Yeah.
As soon as the schedule came out.
Yeah, exactly.
Kirk Cousins, like him. I know you love him.
Oh, I love him.
Fade in prime time.
Yeah.
This is a game I don't know what I'm going to do yet, to be honest. It's going to be super quick. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this one. My number says to bet the Saints. But Jameis Winston has a broke back. What the hell am I supposed to do there? He looked awful last week. I understand it was the Bucs defense, but I would lean the Saints. My number says to bet the Saints, but I don't know if I could bet on a quarterback that has a broke back. Sorry.
Yeah, it's always tough betting on a quarterback with fractures in their spine. Not a good spot.
Exactly. All right, now this is everybody's game that they're looking forward to the most this week. The Texans at the Bears. The Bears are a 2.5-point favorite with the over-under at 40.5. Again, another game that I don't know if I have any interest in betting aside. I believe if I had to bet it, I would take the Texans actually on the money line to get that plus money when there's just this much volatility and no real, like, distinguishing factor between the two teams. I would always go for the plus money rather than taking the points. So I would take them to plus 118. Davis Mills, well, I think the Bears secondary is actually pretty decent. Dude, they got gashed in the running game last week versus the Green Bay Packers, A.J. Dillon, and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones went bonkers, but A.J. Dillon still did his thing as well. But on the flip side, this Texans defense isn't great against the run either. I think David Montgomery is going to get to have a big game. He ran the ball really well versus the Packers on Sunday night. But yeah, Justin Fields, I mean, the Packers are just afraid to, the Bears are just afraid to let him sling the rock. The guy is 33rd in the NFL in pass attempts. 33rd. And by my calculations, there's only 32 teams in the NFL. So one team has 2 guys that have attempted more passes than the Bears starter. So they're not a team that's going to be able to put up a boatload of points. I'm actually a decent fan of Davis Mills. I think he's going to have success, even though the Bears defense is pretty decent. And I just can't back a team that lets their quarterback throw like 10, 12 times a game. I would take the Texans on the money line here, but I expect the ground game to be what takes it for whichever team wins the game.
Yeah, I'm all over Dameon Pierce having a hell of a game here. He had every single one of the Texans running back snaps last week. And now he goes against a Bears team who just had 40 and 37 attempts against them. 58 and a half yards seems like a pretty good number with the Bears just getting absolutely murked. Only 24 minutes of average time of possession. Wow.
Yeah,
Wowza.
I'm with that. I'm probably gonna start piercing my flex. I have him on one of my fantasy teams. He's definitely gonna be in the lineup this week versus Bears defense.
Yeah,
But
I'm all in.
moving on to the Eagles at the Washington Commanders. The Eagles are a 6.5-point favorite with the over under at 47.5. I'm laying it here with the Eagles. Their offense is elite. Jalen Hurts has looked like he has taken the next step. He's being really consistent as a passer. And obviously he's doing great as running the ball as well. And this Eagles defense is pretty solid as well. We obviously saw what they did to Kirk Cousins but again, it's Kirk Cousins in prime time, so I don't know how much stock we can put into that. But this Washington defense was gashed last week by the Detroit Lions offense. And then they were also gashed week 1 by the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars just had a couple drops in the red zone, and some unfortunate mishaps where they couldn't finish drives. I don't think it's necessarily Washington stopping them. It was more so the Jaguars making the mistakes and not being able to finish drives in the end zone in that spot. So I think Jacksonville's offense still moved the ball versus Washington's defense pretty handedly. And then obviously the Lions did last week in a win over Washington. And then for the Washington offense, yeah, they have Terry McLaurin, and Jahan Dotson has looked really good so far through his first 2 career games. But we just saw what this Eagles secondary did to Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. You're telling me they're all magically going to turn around and play like shit versus McLaurin and Jahan Dotson. And then Washington's quarterback is Carson Wentz. It's going to be his first time facing the Eagles since they basically cast him aside. And I'm actually a Wentz guy. I don't think he's as bad as people think. But the one thing here with the Eagles, with the Washington team with Carson Wentz, is he's a super emotional player. I think that's why he kind of falters in big spots, is he tries to do too much and he gets himself like too amped up. He feels like he has to make a play every single play. This is without a doubt going to be one of those games for Carson Wentz, and he already plays erratic as is. He's the type of guy that's going to get you 3 to 4 touchdowns a week, and he's going to get you 1 to 2 interceptions a week. But I expect that to be amped up to the maximum this week, facing an Eagles team, and I think we see a super reckless Carson Wentz trying to make plays down the field. And I think the Eagles are going to be able to move the ball efficiently on this Washington defense. I'm totally cool laying 6.5 here with the Eagles. Bills at the Dolphins. This is, I jokingly said it about the Bears and the Texans, but this is actually the game of the week. Bills at the Dolphins. The over-under is 52.5. Bills laying 6. And I'm on the Bills here, honestly, and I think the Dolphins, while last week's comeback was great, very lucky. Not lucky, because I guess they still made it happen, but you have to be very fortunate to come back in a game like that in the fourth quarter down 21. It's not everything you do. It's also the Ravens making mistakes as well. But this Bills team is my highest rated team in the NFL by far. They were in the preseason, and they've done nothing but even exceed my expectations coming in. And I think everyone is going to be on the Dolphins here off of that big emotional win over the Ravens coming back. They have Waddle. They have Tyreek Hill. Nobody can stop this offense. And I tell you, they still have Tua. I understand he looked good, but if Marcus Peters turns around on the one deep ball that went to Tyreek Hill for one of the touchdowns in the fourth quarter, it's an easy interception. We're not even having this conversation. Give me the Bills here -6. This number is 6 for a reason. They want everybody to take the touchdowns with the Dolphins. I'll gladly lay the 6 with the Bills. Tua is going to be under duress all game long. The Bills have generated an NFL-leading 41.6 pressure rate so far this season, and they've only blitzed 3 times. That means they're getting pressure, and they're allowed to leave. That allows them to leave a lot of guys back in the secondary, which is going to help them versus guys like Waddle and Tyreek Hill, obviously. And again, I'm just not there on Tua yet as a quarterback. Give me the Bills -6. Raiders, this is going to be super simple for me as well, too. Raiders -2 here. I will not stop fading the Titans until they prove otherwise. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL. I was basically by myself last week on Monday night with the Bills. I just didn't see it. This Titans team is really bad. I know Kyle has a Tannehill tattoo on his ass. But I'm glad I didn't have to eat my words and eat that piece of paper calling Tannehill a god. I'm not a huge believer in this Raiders team either. I mean, they're 0-2 for a reason right now. But I'm gonna be fading the Titans until they do anything to show me that they shouldn't be faded. Simple for me here.
Yeah, and I also feel like the Raiders pass rush hasn't really gotten to like really eat yet. Like I think the duo of Jones and Crosby have 1 sack through 2 weeks. Now you got Taylor Lewan out. This should be a really nice spot for the Raiders to do some damage defensively.
And who's covering Waller, Renfro, Adams?
Bro,
There's nobody on this Titans defense who I'm worried about.
What, Caleb Farley? Like, good fucking luck. Good luck, Chiefs. I don't know.
Especially after Devontae Adams laid a goose egg in front of his grandma, dude.
Yeah, I know. Now he's coming extra disrespectful this week.
Jaguars at the Chargers. This is another game. I think I will gladly lay the 7 with the Chargers on a normal week. But Justin Herbert has broken ribs. We don't even know if he's playing or not. And we saw the Cowboys missing Dak. They were a 2-point favorite. They went to a 7-point dog just because of that injury. So now, what is this line going to do if Herbert's ruled out and Chase Daniel has to finally work for a living and play a game? I can't get to this number if Justin Herbert's not playing, and I'm going to be interested to see how much it moves. So this is a straight wait and see. I can't even give you an opinion either way.
All right. Yeah, I agree. It's hard to bet the Chargers if Herbert's not playing. I don't even know who their backup is. Chase Daniel?
Yeah, the guy who's made like $50 million playing like 13 snaps in his career.
Yeah, he's a freeloader.
100%. One of the laziest people in the NFL. Packers at Tampa Bay. Normally this would be the game of the week, but I believe it is the Bills-Dolphins. And Mike Evans is suspended for the Bucs, and then no Devontae Adams. I feel like this matchup has kind of lost its luster recently, with the obviously players being missing. That being said, I don't know what I'm doing in this game. I think I'm going to be on the Buccaneers, honestly, at this number. I feel like a lot of people are going to be on the Packers and overreact to Mike Evans being out, but it's Tom Brady. Have you watched him his whole career? He makes shit work with me and you playing receiver for him. Like he's had an elite receiver like 3 times in his 75-year career. And then this line is exactly where it should be with Mike Evans and the injuries that the Buccaneers have. Like it opened at 3, it's already at 1. If anybody's coming in and being like, "Oh, I'm betting the Packers, Bucs are injured and Mike Evans is out," the value's gone. This is already baked into this number. There's no value here if that's your thought process. You could like the Packers. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just saying the value is gone from like an injury and Mike Evans standpoint. So that shouldn't be your thought process. That being said, I think the Buccaneers are the better team. These young wide receivers for the Packers are going to really struggle versus this Bucs defense and secondary. And I still don't trust this Packers O-line versus this Buccaneers defensive line that's been eating so far this year. So you're telling me the Bucs basically just have to win the game? I'm probably going to be on Tampa here. Haven't made the bet yet, but I'm going to be on Tampa. This is AJ's favorite game of the week.
Yeah,
the Falcons at the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are a 2-point favorite. Maybe the only game Seattle's favored this year. Would you think so?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, they don't have anybody in the division they'd ever be a favorite to. And I don't really know another team in football they'd be a favorite to besides like the Texans, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I'm like, this is probably the only time you're ever catching the Seahawks as a favorite. That being said, I love the over in this game. AJ, I believe, is on the Falcons.
I'm a big-time Falcons guy here.
Yeah, he's on the Falcons, but I'm on the over for the reasons AJ's on the Falcons. I think these Falcons playmakers are going to have a day versus this Seattle defense. But I also think while we're coming into the season, everybody's super high on this Atlanta secondary. Thought it was going to be a strong point of their team. They've kind of got lit up both weeks. I mean, they started out really good versus the Saints. But Jameis Winston put together a comeback and obviously came back and won that game for the Saints week 1. And then Matt Stafford, while they did get a couple interceptions, still put up a boatload of points on them. I'm not saying the Seattle offense is the Rams offense, but there's enough DK, Tyler Lockett, Noah Fant. If Geno Smith isn't turning the ball over, I think he can put up points. I think both of these teams play into the mid-20s here in this game, and we're going to cash this over 42 pretty easily. Now, I don't know if you want to hit on, AJ, why you like the Falcons.
Mainly I just like the Falcons because, kind of as Steven Harrison said, I truly just think they're the more talented team, and we're getting them as a dog. So, I mean, Geno Smith can have the highest completion percentage in the NFL all he wants, but if your yards per attempt is 3.6 yards, like, that's not going to move the needle. That's not going to get you first downs. I mean, honestly, I'm impressed with what I've seen from this Atlanta offense both weeks. I mean, they scored 20-plus points both weeks. And Mariota,
I just wish they would start using Kyle Pitts.
I'm a Drake London owner. I personally like the usage for Drake London. Kyle Pitts could scratch, but no, I think we see both of them eat this week. The Seahawks secondary is just so young. They have nobody to cover these dudes. It's gonna be a mess.
Yeah, and they're missing Jamal Adams too. And Toast, yeah, I know Daniel Jones is a genius. I jokingly said he was lazy because the guy never works. But, yeah, no, they called Tyrann Mathieu the honey badger, and Chase Daniel is called the money badger. The guy just keeps getting paid and doing absolutely nothing. But he must be a damn good clipboard holder because he keeps getting a job every year.
Big facts.
Rams at the Cardinals. The Rams are a 3.5-point favorite with the over-under at 48.5. I will gladly lay the 3.5 here with the Rams. I don't think we've seen this team peak yet. I've already bet it at 3.5. I'm actually waiting. I took a full unit on the Rams minus 3.5, and I'm waiting. I'm hoping the Cardinals actually get some good injury news going forward, and we can get an even better number here for the Rams as we get closer to the weekend, and I will come back in and bet a little more on the Rams as well. This Cardinals team is bad. I know they obviously came back last week versus the Raiders. We all were on the Cardinals last week. I even said on the Sunday show to sprinkle the money line on the Cardinals. Got very lucky with that, but this Cardinals team is still not very good. This Rams defense is better all over the field, in my opinion, and if they're going to continue to be injured, I'll gladly lay the Rams here minus 3.5. I expect them to win this game comfortably, and Matt Rule, while he is challenging and might actually be the winner, I'm still feeling okay about my Cliff Kingsbury first coach fired bet.
Yeah, two absolute messes at the wheel.
Matt Rule, I would sprinkle a little money that he's coaching Nebraska next year.
Dude, I think I'd bet my paycheck that fucking he's the first one fired. He is a stain.
Yeah, I was feeling good about Kingsbury because I feel like they're a team that at least has expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're supposed to be a playoff team, division winner, and like Super Bowl competitor. Like Rule is kind of just like, oh, like, hey, maybe we might be good. We got Baker Mayfield, like. So I thought the expectations would be get Kingsbury fired quicker, but Rule has looked so bad. Like it's just.
I was gonna say losing to the Browns without Deshaun and the Giants with no pass rushers.
Yeah, and then you follow it up by scoring 16 points to the Giants.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just don't know if that is meeting any expectations. Even if the expectations are as low as could be, Jesus Christ, they're even lower than those.
Right. The bar is the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So next game up is the 49ers minus 1.5 versus the Denver Broncos here. I hate myself, but I think I'm going to be on the Broncos. I haven't bet it yet because I think this number has a chance to get better for the Broncos. If this ever hits 3, I'm auto betting the Broncos. But I think I'm going to end up being on them regardless, probably 1.5 and the money line. We know what we're getting out of this 49ers team with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's going to be a dink and dunk, time-consuming offense, not going to turn the ball over, but he's not going to ever beat you downfield. I obviously would love to see Surtain and Judy in the lineup here for the Broncos before I place this bet, but I don't think it's ever the 49ers here, in my opinion. I know Kyle, again, is probably going to be mad because he loves Garoppolo almost as much as he loves Tannehill, but I can't do it, and I would actually lean the under 44.5 as well. I think this should be closer to like 42, 41 because what do we know here? The Broncos offense has been abysmal. Hackett is going to give you at least 4 to 5 dumbass decisions in game management wise. And this 49ers defense is not a big play going to score 1 to 2 plays a drive. It's going to be long, slow, sustained drives. It's going to eat away the clock. I think the under might be my favorite bet here, but if I had to be a side, I might be on the Broncos as well. It's never 49ers in my opinion. I can't believe I just said I'm going to back Nathaniel Hackett, but
dude,
it is what it is.
The Broncos would be the single sharpest play of all time. They are fucking abysmal.
Yeah, like I said, I hate it. I literally, before I even said it, I was just like, am I really going to say this on air? But
hey,
yeah, I have to.
You got to live boldly.
Yeah, exactly. You got to take chances in life.
Mm-hmm.
But Monday night, Cowboys at the Giants. I really like the under here. I really like the under 39. I'm really not interested in a side, to be honest with you. The Cowboys, Cooper Rush got it done last week. But this Cowboys offense did not look great in the win. Their wide receivers aren't very good until they at least get Gallup back to pair with CeeDee Lamb. And they're Tony Pollard and Zeke obviously on the ground, but that's if a team's running the ball majority of the time, that's an under type of game script. And on the flip side, this Cowboys D-line, like Micah Parsons might be the best player in football, not even best defensive player, just might be the best player in football. He's on a first ballot Hall of Fame trajectory. I would bet him right now for Defensive Player of the Year. I think he's a co-favorite with Micah Parsons. With Myles Garrett at plus 400. So I think there's value there. But that's why I'm on the under here. The Giants' offense isn't explosive either. Neither is the Cowboys with Cooper Rush. The Giants have Kenny Golladay, who they're paying millions and millions of dollars for to just basically run sprints because they don't ever throw him the ball. And then their most talented receiver, in my opinion, is Kadarius Toney, and the guy gets 2 targets a game. So I don't know what he has to do to get targets, and until they start using him, I don't think this Giants offense has a shot to be a big play team. And this D-line for the Cowboys is going to get after Daniel Jones. And I understand the Giants are 2-0. They may move to 3-0 here, playing the Cowboys backup. But they are the 8th per DVOA. Toast actually gave this stat in our group chat earlier this week. The Giants are actually the 8th worst 2-0 team in NFL history per DVOA, which in my opinion is like the most accurate like statistical thing that you can find when it comes to football. They're the 8th worst ever in NFL history. So take that for what you want, but I think it's pretty good. I think it's a good bit of info. So I'm on the under here, and it's probably one of my favorite bets of the week.
I was looking at the Giants' updated season win total yesterday. Dude, it's at 8.5.
That's asinine.
I am pretty close to just hammering it right now. But if they beat the Cowboys and I could get that under at like plus money, oh my lord. I might soil myself.
That's overreaction galore. I mean, what they beat in my opinion, a bottom 3 team in football in the Tennessee Titans. Mm-hmm. And then the Baker Mayfield-led Carolina Panthers, who just lost to Jacoby Brissett at home.
That's what I'm saying, dude. So I think there's some immense value there right now. Honestly, I'm probably going to bet right now, and then if they win again, bet more next week. So I just don't believe in this team. Giants, wait until the regression comes. Wait until the Giants secondary faces a real team. Holy Lord, it's going to be bad.
Exactly. They've gotten, and this was supposed to be like their first real test when the schedule came out, and now you get Cooper Rush.
Yeah, I mean, they just keep getting lucky.
Exactly. But hey, you know what? NFL, win, go ahead. I hope they start 3-0. I do. Because then it's just going to make their opponents more valuable as the season goes.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that's all the games for this week. Obviously, the write-ups and the official picks will be on the site and the Sauce Network app. And then, as always, me, AJ, and Kyle will be on the Sunday morning NFL Pick Show, 10 a.m. here on the same channel as well. And I'll talk to you guys then.
Peace out, Chiefs. Stay safe.